A little clump, Subalpine for sort of clump. I don't know if they're all attached. I'm really excited to see what kind of roots we have and what it looks like at the base here. Yeah, and I just want to get this into a smaller container. It's really starting to put on growth that's too big. You know, I have to kind of keep this compact for now until it can kind of thicken out and grow and get bigger, but more so I need to keep it from just elongating out and becoming a sort of a bush. So I'll chop a few of these back, but I'm really going to try to transplant this into a smaller container. I really realized that I'm having a hard time switching into development, or sorry, into refinement from development. And part of it is that I'm too much soil and too much organic soil. And so I'm thinking about reducing, trying to get them in smaller containers. So these are all Subalpine fir roots. You can see it's just starting to grow. So again, maybe, you know, this is a fine time, but a few days earlier would have been nice. But lots of roots to work with, which is really great, and pretty compact, so it's held together well. So I went with this crescent-shaped container. Well, it was actually it was full circle that it broke. So anyways, yeah, it's I think it looks nice in there. It's a little more natural. It's a little, you know, the container's maybe a little bit strange, you know, partly as I was transplanting, this one sort of started to come loose. I didn't want to bend this tree out just so you can see it more, because I actually kind of like this angle, but you lose that last tree, you know, or even this is nice. And what's nice about this container is that it you can turn it and still be okay. And so anyways, I think bending this out, but it just has to get strong and grow roots and develop. So yeah. Larch that I worked on last spring for the first time, and did just its initial styling, and so I've ginned the top here. All the way up, and then I made this into the apex, and you can see it's I mean, it's the first thing to really shoot out in our area, and my wire's starting to cut in, so I'm gonna have to remove the wire. I don't want big scars on this at all. And then you can see, like last year, it pushed right all this stuff, this new woody stuff, right? And so a lot of tips I would love for it to push more to make branches, didn't. And so I need to, you know, decide I'm going to keep all these to what length, probably not all of them to the full length, but some of these branches are nice, I'm going to want to keep. And then I'm going to repot, so I really don't want to take off much, and I don't need to, luckily, so I'll just trim back a little bit. Fairly simple work. Yeah, so it's you know, could be more. There's actually, I think that's the front there. Yeah, couldn't be happier though. It's just pushing out beautiful. So it seems to have transplanted well. Yeah, so now it's just let her grow. Yeah, that angle's a bit strange because of this. Straightens out, right? So when you're here, you know, you can't see it, but it dips in, but you can just see it straight. So that doesn't make any sense. And I'm filming this quite a bit after, so I'm sure I had thought about the angle a whole bunch, but because it's round, I can kind of move it. So anyways, yeah. So Yamadori Larch. I had styled it up originally like this, and I think that was, so it's ginned right up to here. You know, and I can get rid of that gin if I really need to. I'm gonna leave it for now, but I think I had kept it angled like this to prevent that straight line just being straight up and down. So you know, this is the original styling, and you know, I got some branching, which is nice, a little pairing there, but all this is new. right? Which is great. It can fill out this section and this stayed alive, which is nice. You know, and obviously this branch is way too thick, so I think that one's dead, unfortunately. It would have been nice to get another branch in here somewhere, right? I can probably hope for a branch, although it's not going to get a lot of sunlight. I just thinking maybe I need to get rid of that big one. But anyways, it's going to be a repot, so yeah, this will be interesting to see. I can't really tell what I've got in there, so the angle might change once I see the roots and everything. So I came across this. That's unfortunate. Holy. So I sectioned it off. You know, it's that amount of roots. It's a good chunk, which I'm glad I kind of discovered that. And I saw it when the roots were here. I was like, oh no, right, this. And I kind of remember, and then you know, having this huge thick container or big round one, it doesn't look right. You know, this is starting to swell a little bit bigger. Luckily, if I get here, it starts to minimize. Just looks, but it is a sharp bend. And then this long straight section. So, but I just can't afford to keep that. I don't like the two feet. Although I'm having doubts now. If I had it there, it's just going to create a bulge right here. Brings your eye right down to it. You know, this is why I had it designed here, and then you don't really see it. But then what's the purpose of it, right? You know, it is that another unique feature, and I'm sure, you know, it's one of those things you could just regret later in your life. Because that is not very pretty. Could I, you know, I have it here. It becomes this back anchor. You'd see it from these angles. Most of the times you wouldn't. Yeah, it does look thick in there. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it. That's my decision. I'm gonna get rid of it. A month later, probably. So here's the container I chose. I actually love this little scarring in here. And this pot's holding out well. It's got a small crack, but you know, they're all gonna crack. Especially the ones that I didn't put a lot of like plastics in, or fiberglass, or any metal meshing or anything in. But I do like the design of this one. It's got the what do you call that? Beveled edges. And yeah, there's the tree sort of pushing out. So you know, I mean, you can see that it's unwired. You know, it's come out of itself a little bit, right? Like this is that branch I kind of wanted to take. You know, and I could pull this way down. So you know, it needs some wire, but like all this growth is great. Like I was saying, it would be nice to have a branch coming off this side here, you know, and maybe that one can get turned just to produce some foliage here, and maybe this one can come over. But yeah, so it just needs a design. But this was about getting the new container. Oh yeah, and there's the root that I had to remove. So it was sticking out there, and you can see it's like, especially from this angle, it's thin, and then there's that bulge from that root. Here you lose it quite a bit. And I tilted it because I think it was going more this way in its original container, but it made that look more 90 degrees. So I just tilted it, and that ended a little smoother there. And what's nice is you don't that doesn't, I mean, you see the bulge if I point it out, but this doesn't like hit you in the head. So we'll just see. I mean, with this here, it's gonna thicken it there. You know, there's that little root, but I almost need it to add depth, and maybe if I give it a little roll or something, it'll be nice. So.